Sports Counterpoints podcast. It is January 25th, 2023. I'm GB, the Cal Bear with the gray hair. You dig? I got Coop, got Brian with us. What's happening, man? Welcome back to the show. How y'all guys doing?
Doing all right.
We're good. We're tired, but we're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brother's been working. We gotta, hey man, we out here making it happen. Shout out to Mac Dre. I was listening to Cal Bear in the ride, so that's the Cal Bear reference. Rest in peace. But yeah, so we're talking today about the NFL playoffs, of course. You got the divisional round just happened. We got conference championships popping. We'll talk. I got a conceptual question for the guys centered around that. NFL season award finalists have come out. We'll speak about that. You also got a little bit of live versus the PGA as far as some golf is concerned. Lakers make a trade, you know what I mean? So let's get to it, man. Starting with the playoffs. Let's just round robin it, right? So um last week, man. Y'all have a specific game you like to start on or anything that intrigues you the
Man,
most?
you go ahead, Glenn. Just bring up a game. Brian will
Man,
start.
so
I'll follow.
let's start with so where are we at? We have the conference championships now. So you had the Jags Chiefs.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can't say anyone was horribly surprised at the outcome of this. The only reason this game was even a little bit interesting was because Mahomes got hurt early and was kind of dragging his leg around the field. Uh, gutty win there. But I also thought what was pretty interesting about this game was watching Isaiah Pacheco kind of come into his own. I mean, when he hit that corner and dipped, I mean, just he literally put his head down and took off. You realize just the kind of the value that he could have in this offense that the other running backs have just never been able to do. Kelsey was his normal awesome self, but yeah, and look, hats off to Trevor Lawrence who tried to mount a
Told
little
y'all.
bit of well try to mount a little bit of a comeback, but I mean the reality of it is that this team is well coached. I mean, Doug Peterson, we're going to talk about in a minute. He's NFL finalist for Coach of the Year. It's well coached. They developed, they played well for the most part this season. They're just not there yet, and KC is KC for a reason. Yeah, we'll talk more about where I think they go in a minute, but
Yeah, let's get your
what
thought. I feel
about
like
you on this game?
KC always be keeping games close, man. Like they just be kind of coasting through every damn game.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What you think,
Especially
Coop?
when they're double-digit favorites, they do coast. But I was a little bit disappointed in Jacksonville, and here's why. The only reason I was disappointed in them is when Mahomes went out, and Chad Henne, who was not good. I think he's a 15. He's been in the league 15 years. He is not a good quarterback. He came in and had a 98-yard touchdown drive against the Jaguars. I thought that was going to be the moment that the Jacksonville defense kind of sunk in, stopped KC, and made it a game to where they could possibly win, but it didn't happen. So I was sort of looking forward to Jacksonville trying to, try to get a win when Chad Henne came in, but it didn't happen. So, but no, of course, like Brian said, we're not surprised by the result. KC won by 10. They're just a better team, and hats off to Jacksonville for even making it this far. I mean, nobody. I expected them to win the division, but I didn't expect them to be playing Kansas City with the win and go to the AFC Championship game. So, hats off to them. But I thought when Chad Henne came in, they would have a legitimate chance to win. It just didn't happen. That's all.
I have to say, not in opposition to what you said, but just kind of acknowledgement of Coach Reed. When Henne came in, he gave him the ball. He gave him the full playbook. He
Yep.
didn't, he did not change the style of the offense. He just said,
Smart.
you're going to try, we're going to get you to execute. Now, he did it differently.
Yeah.
He didn't throw sidearm passes and all the other things, and he's not as dangerous as Mahomes, but it shows that one, the offense is very effective, independent of the how outstanding Mahomes is. Alex
Oh
Smith
yeah.
ran it. He
Yeah.
ran it. Reed knows how to get his team to perform and was able to. That was a huge touchdown, right? Henne
Yeah.
and them leading.
Yeah.
He only went 5 for 7 for 23 yards, but they were critical passes. One was the first play of the game when they were basically throwing from the end zone.
Yeah.
Not the game, but the first game of the drive for Chad Henne when they were throwing from the end zone, and they went from there. But anyways, just impressive that Reed was so confident that in a situation like that, the first play out the gun is at the gate is Henne
Yeah.
throw the ball from the end zone.
Yeah.
We'll go from there.
Space.
Yeah. He's been in that system for years. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Still, it's a
Mhm.
playoff game. So yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
big
stay
moment.
Let's stay with the AFC, Bengals and Bills, man. What y'all think?
Oh man, what I got to say about this game? Look, Bills were everybody. They weren't mine, but everybody's Super Bowl winner this
Never
year,
mind. Never
and the
mind.
favorite coming into the season, and they got thoroughly embarrassed by 27-10 at home by the Bengals. No team that I could think of in my lifetime came into the season with more hype and was the favorite to win the Super Bowl for a game because of a game they actually lost the previous season. That's never happened. Bengals, they're still a good team,
Sure.
but that's
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Coming into the weekend, 7 out of 8 coaches were offensive coaches. The only defensive coach was McDermott, and he and Allen lost yet another big game. McDermott is a defensive coach, yet in 2020 they played KC,
About to say
gave and
defense
gave
wasn't
up
all that good.
exactly. They gave up in 2020 they gave up 38 to KC in the playoffs, lost. 2021 gave up 42 to KC in the playoffs, lost, couldn't get off the field. Now they're at home against Cincinnati, missing starters on the offensive line. They only scored 10 and gave up 27. Bengals could have scored more because this game was not competitive. And then I read a stat I didn't know. It's true, but I didn't know it. Every coach and quarterback combination that has won a Super Bowl, they won their first Super Bowl within the first 5 years. It's been 5 years now for Allen and McDermott. It hasn't happened. Safe to say, with cap numbers going up
Everyone.
next year, every team, coach and quarterback that has won a Super Bowl, they
Interesting.
did it. They did it within their first 5 years. They won their first one.
Interesting.
Lamar and Harbaugh, it's been 5 years. They haven't won. Somebody needs to go.
Interesting.
Allen,
Interesting.
Josh, and McDermott, 5 years hasn't happened. One of them needs to go. But this game, I got to give credit
Interesting.
to the defensive coordinator of the Cincinnati Bengals. His name, I just looked it up today. His name is Lou Anaruno or something like that. Amaretta Sauer. I don't know, but he deserves a ton of credit. 3 straight wins against Mahomes. Went into Buffalo, held them to 10. Now the Bills, they had a part in playing bad. I don't know what they were doing offensively, but I know the Bengals clearly had an offensive game plan. They were just getting the ball out of Burrow's hands quickly because they were missing starters on offensive line. They didn't want to get Burrow hurt. And whereas the Bills on 3rd and 2, 3rd and 4, they're taking deep shots in the snow down the sideline. I don't know. I don't know what their game plan was, and plus they didn't have much of a running game, which is actually Josh Allen, and he didn't run that much in the first half. So I didn't understand what the Bills were doing. They didn't play well offensively or defensively. Brian, what you think about this game?
Yeah. So I don't think we should throw the Bills down the river. It's an interesting stat though
No,
about the
not down
five
the
years.
river. No, I'm with you.
But the early in the season, I did go ride with the Bills, and even this week I said, look, I can see why the Bengals might be able to win this, but I'm gonna keep riding with the Bills. The problem that they've had all season long, and the problem that exists today, was a stat we talked about a couple weeks ago. 75% of playoff wins are dictated by which team can win the line of scrimmage and run the ball more. And the Bills have all season had no running game other than Josh Allen. Even when they have a pretty decent run total, it's way too dependent on Josh Allen. They did not have a great one this year, and they got outrushed by over 100 yards, 172 to 63. Ultimately, I think there's a reason why that stat is true. We could look at all the other things. We could talk about Stephon Diggs and his enigmatic end of the season where he started running out of the thing with all of his stuff and had to have players bring him back in. And as a Viking fan, be very thankful he's not there anymore. But the reality of it is that, the Bengals have been probably the best team in football since they had a slow start, and they can just continue to find ways to win. And we talked about it last week that, the Bills are the team we think will do it because they're the kind of the Super Bowl favorite, and they're a good team. But the Bengals, they've got something, and this is kind of the reverse of the Super Bowl jinx, right? It's the team that loses that usually falls out. This year it was a team that won that fell apart, and the Bengals look like a team that's really on a mission. They're solid on both sides. They've played through adversity, and they're just a fun team to watch on both sides of the ball. You go into a game watching them having confidence, and I think they miss. We'll find out soon enough, but Burrow's never lost in KC, and he's never lost to Mahomes. So if he was thinking about a way for this AFC Championship to break his way, it has, right? He gets to play not a hobbled, but probably not 100% in Patrick Mahomes, and in a situation that he's gone and won every other time before.
I know. Now, I did say a few weeks ago the Bengals were the best team, but I did pick the Bills last week to win this game.
I said both of those things with you.
Yeah, and it just the Bengals are just clearly. I mean, to me, this game officially puts Burrow ahead of Josh Allen in my quarterback ranking, unofficial quarterback ranking. I just think Burrow is just a better quarterback. To me, Brian, I don't know if you
like
noticed
throwers.
this. I do like throwers. Yeah, I do like them.
And Burrow is definitely that.
Yeah,
he's really.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but to me, it seemed like Cincinnati and the Buffalo Bills are reflections of their quarterback. Burrow is like real calm and confident. That's how Cincinnati plays. And Allen, when things don't go the Bills' way, they start whining, they start looking at refs, they start yelling, and they kind of get discombobulated, which is probably why their record in close games isn't that good. They kind of fall apart a little bit. So I just noticed that. I know teams are usually a reflection of their coaches, but to me, it seems like these teams are reflections of their quarterback, and the better quarterback, in my opinion.
Astute observation, man. You sound like a Mac of nations.
You're hella funny.
I like that. Okay, word. What about the NFC side? We're gonna go obviously your team last, but Giants, Eagles, man. They are who we thought they were.
Yeah, me and Brian, we called this one. I mean, it was a mismatch. I don't really have much to say about this one, except it was over before the first quarter ended. The Giants, if you think about it, the Giants only have one player that can really start on the Eagles. That's Saquon Barkley, maybe Dexter Lawrence. That's it. But when I saw this stat that Philly had 150 yards rushing before contact, that's a damn shame. 150 before contact, well, more than that, or probably a little more than that. But yeah, the Giants clearly were just overmatched.
Yeah, they're outmatched.
Daniel Jones, all these guys, it wasn't the game.
To me, they had a great season to even get here. No one had them getting this far.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. They didn't get this far, but I don't know if this
is what we thought should happen.
Right, but I don't think this is actually really a playoff test playing against the Giants. That's just my opinion, but we'll get in that later. But Brian, what you think about this game?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, 268 rushing yards is pretty impressive. I don't care who you do it against. And to be able to do that, but I think it's impressive to win with Jalen Hurts kind of coming back and only having 154 yards. And he played the whole game, but obviously the second half of the game was just handing out the ball. But to be able to put 38 points up there with your quarterback, who's an MVP candidate, with only 154 yards and 2 touchdowns, and have Kenneth Gainwell be your leading rusher with 112 yards. Yeah, exactly. Not Miles Sanders, not Jalen Hurts, not even Boston Scott, who looked pretty good and got a touchdown later on. But Kenneth Gainwell had 112 yards, and I think it just showed. I think it's interesting that Philly was able to be so dominant without showing their hand. You all the San Francisco 49ers do not really know how the Philadelphia would attack them or attack the game plan or anything like that, because they went into coast before halftime.
Yeah, and they've been doing it all season, really, Brian. They'll score in the second quarter, run it up on you.
I know. I experienced it the second week of the season.
And the second half, they'll just close the playbook and just get out of there. That's all they'll do. Yep, that's true.
Yeah, well, they like I said, they curb stomped my team, so I was well aware of what they can do and how they can do it.
Yeah, y'all didn't do too good, but against the NFC East, man. I think play them. No, we don't play them next year. Play y'all. All right, so last game, man. Cowboys-Niners, man. Niner fans are going crazy, getting all over the Cowboy fans' heads. I'm seeing so many memes. Mark Safe from We Them Boys this week. I saw about 20 people talking about, are y'all still them boys? I seen people punching TVs. Cowboys fans throwing TVs out of windows, which is definitely for the clout, because there's no way you should be. Why are you filming it? But beyond the point. But man, Niners win. What you think?
Look, I know you guys are gonna get tired about me saying this, but I said 2 years ago, I hope and pray the Cowboys sign Dak Prescott to a massive deal, because that means they will not win the Super Bowl. And
you said that.
They did. And I mean, Cowboys, they lose these kind of games for the same reasons every time. Dak has head scratching plays. He had a couple of interceptions, should have been probably 3. Dumb penalties. They had 2 bad defensive holding penalties that kept the 49ers only touchdown drive alive.
Yep.
McCarthy, bad clock management, punted on 4th and 5 from the 49ers 40-yard line. And we've watched football for years. We all know that good quarterbacks with 40 seconds left in the game could at least get their team in Hail Mary range, and Dak couldn't even do that. So when I look at all this and I see these Cowboy failures in the playoffs, they remind me of Andy Dalton and Marvin Lewis. They're a modern day Cincinnati Andy Dalton and Marvin Lewis, where they were good enough to get to the playoffs, but bad or below average quarterback play, below average coaching and mistakes, they always find a way to mess it up and lose games. And that's how I look at the Cowboys. So, but I do have to give them credit. Their defense played
I was
very
about to
well,
say
especially on the run game. I mean, they bottled
they was
that thing
killing. Yep.
up on the run game. And I think if
Passing
Tony
too. Debo had a
passed it
couple
to,
catches. Ayuk had a couple catches. They was on
yeah,
top of it.
yeah, they were, but I think that had to do a lot with Kyle Shanahan's game plan. I think he wanted to be conservative. I saw that from the beginning. He maintained that through the game, but the Cowboys weren't having it. And I really think if Pollard didn't get hurt, the Cowboys could have won this game. And when Pollard got hurt, they relied on Dak in the second half. And whenever you rely on Dak to pass you through a game, it's against a good team, it's not going to work. And he made mistakes that didn't work. But credit to Dallas. That defense played outstanding. They only gave up 19 points.
You didn't mention the young Joe Montana at all.
Yeah, well, he's not really Joe Montana. Let's not go there. But he didn't make any mistakes. But I asked people, I even asked Cowboy fans watching that game, do you think, I can ask you guys the same thing, did you see a huge talent gap between Dak Prescott and Brock Purdy? I didn't see a huge talent gap between them. I really didn't. I don't think Dak is that much better than Brock Purdy. I really don't. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I think Dak is really dependent on a balanced game plan. And when he's at his best, it's when either Pollard or Elliott or one of those folks are also a big part of the game plan. And obviously, and I don't know that Pollard was going to be the difference maker that you think he might have been. I mean, he was only averaging 3.7.
Only lost by 6.
But he had to be able to break 3.
7.
Elliott wasn't able to do much in the run game afterwards, and he's supposed to be the big money guy. Pollard wasn't doing much before he got hurt, even though it's unfortunate that he got hurt. Dak Prescott wasn't really able to help out much. I mean, they only got 76 yards, given with 22 attempts. And even though, going back to the stat, and even though the defense played outstanding, San Francisco was able to find a way to make some plays. It was Eli Mitchell who kind of, I think, led the running backs for the San Francisco 49ers. They were finding ways to throw them off guard, right? So, McCaffrey's back there. They were pretty certain that he would get the ball. They didn't do that sometimes. They put Eli in there, which he doesn't usually get the ball in these lately. It's always been McCaffrey, and they used that kind of tactic to get some decent yards out of the running game, and that was kind of a difference, not the difference. But anyways, completely agree with everything else you said. The Cowboys are clearly not built to win a Super Bowl. They're built to be a contender in the NFC East. And that's going to be pretty difficult with Philly playing the way they are. But the NFC East almost got 4 teams in at one point in time. So they're built to be a contender. They're not built to be a winner. I do think that if you're the coach McCarthy, the one thing that you're pretty happy about is your ability to make the playoffs while the Green Bay Packers were not able to make the playoffs. There was a lot said about how Aaron Rodgers and him didn't get along, and that was one of the reasons that he had to go. Well, Aaron Rodgers has been a complete and utter disaster since he left, and McCarthy has not shined too bright, but he has been able to be competitive, and he's been able to make the playoffs. And, if you had to look at, that relationship between him and Rodgers and pick a side, I think most people right now would probably pick McCarthy.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I
A
agree.
couple things for y'all. So first, this is an observation for you, Coop. I noticed you don't like young QBs, but your favorite QB is an up and coming Niners quarterback. I'm going to say that. Jimmy G was your fave when he was coming in. He was a truck.
I jumped off of that. I jumped off of that.
Brock Purdy right now is the man. He's looking good. He's doing more than Jimmy. I'd say he was a winner or nothing. I'm just saying.
Right.
And it's your team. You're supposed to rep for your young boys.
I'm not gonna say he's my favorite quarterback, but
you love him.
No, I don't love him. I like him. I do like him, but I don't know what his ceiling is yet. I'm hearing a lot of things. Oh, what is he going to do when he's down in the game? Well, he passed that test. What are you going to do in the first playoff game? He passed that test. Well, he's going on the road in Philly. He's definitely going to crumble there. I don't know. I would like to know what his ceiling is, and I don't know. So I'm trying to find out about him just like everybody else is, but I'm not putting predictions out. He's going to have a bad game just because he's in Philly, or his first playoff game, he's not going to do well. I can't do that.
Trey Lance, you didn't really get all the way behind, but Jimmy.
Trey Lance
fan at the beginning, and you're a Brock fan now.
Well, I had a reason to be a Jimmy fan. He just never got better. Trey Lance, to be honest with you, it might not work out. It really might not work
Yeah,
out
he
with
might
him.
be up out of there, honestly. And
Yeah,
then
So
right.
the big rumor that I saw today was that there was talk that the Vikings should trade for Trey Lance for a 3rd-round draft pick.
Really?
and get yeah,
You guys would give up Kirk Cousins for Trey Lance?
he's from the crib.
Yeah, but he's not really that accurate. I don't know if that works. Would you
want
want that, Brian?
you want Kirk Cousins or Trey Lance?
Cousins is
What the
not
difference
going
is.
anywhere. So what
Yeah.
they're basically doing is
Background.
giving a 3rd-round draft pick to put the guy behind Kirk Cousins for next year. Kirk
Yeah.
Cousins is not going anywhere.
Okay.
And then giving him yet another year to develop and get healthy and all that kind of stuff. Do I think that's a great idea?
home.
No, I don't. I just thought it was a very interesting rumor
Uh.
that's what kind of that kind of got broken out there today.
Well,
A
yeah.
3rd-round draft pick for a backup quarterback is not that bad.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't do it because of his salary. I mean, we got people who make too much money, so we can't afford to just have a backup making a whole bunch of money, a starter or somebody. We might as well have
No,
somebody who's been in
absolutely
the
not.
system for a couple of years. He's been in the system. He knows the playbook. He just can't stay healthy. And he
Well,
not that
yeah, you
accurate,
can't
so.
run him up the middle, so he ain't, he ain't
So,
Bo
you know,
Jackson. Let me
right.
ask you all this though. So okay, so my second thing was real quick, and then we'll get to the NFL season awards. We talk about the
But we gotta go
team-
to San Francisco, Philly too. We gotta talk about that matchup. That's the
Oh,
biggest game.
yeah. All right, let's. Well,
The
actually, real
next
quick.
games this
Yeah,
week, yeah.
we'll do that real quick. I just want to ask you on. Don't take a lot of time, but
Yep.
right now, I heard a lot of Niners fans going to Cowboys, Niners, and so far in the last few years, the Cowboys, when they make it to the playoffs, they lose in that first game they play, they lose.
Yeah.
The Niners have been, consistently good, but they can't get over the hump either. Do you guys find a difference in that, or are you fine? Are you just happy to be there, happy to be in the dance, and just eventually will win it, or is the only goal to win a Super Bowl? Like, how do you feel? Because the Cowboys are getting clowned, they're losing one less game than the Niners theoretically. You know what I mean? So,
Brian, go ahead and take
how do you
that
guys
one.
feel about
Yeah, I mean, if I use the two teams, if I use the two teams,
and
that
say
you're
it's your
talking
team, B,
about,
like
San
say it's the
Francisco.
Vikings.
Yeah, say it's the Vikings.
A divisional round,
No, well,
potential, or
it's a better comparison with it was a better comparison to use to San Francisco 49ers and Dallas. And the reason for that is that San Francisco 49ers have all of the pieces.
100%.
They're not where Dallas is. Dallas still needs things. So if you're San Francisco, you're going to keep playing. You're not trying to get a draft pick to get that one piece that'll move you from this group to the next group. If you're looking at Dallas, they still need to find some players. They still need to figure out who their running back is. They need to still, they need to figure out the tight end situation who has been up and down. They need to figure out, a bigger playmaker on the defensive side. They're not far. They're pretty close. They're a good team, right? But they still have things. So them getting into the playoffs might be in detriment to their ability to find those pieces going forward, because you have to redo contracts of players that think, hey, I'm a playoff guy. I was a big factor in a playoff team. Now I want more money. Well, that's harder to get those extra pieces. Or if you're doing draft picks, those draft picks aren't as good. But the San Francisco 49ers pretty much have all the things that they need. I mean, they got McCaffrey in the middle of the year. They got Ayuk, who's coming along nicely. They got Debo.
I don't
they
see
got
how they
Kittle.
get a better team than this.
That's exactly right. And so with that type of team, it doesn't matter that they might not have gotten over the hump. They should keep doing it. They should keep going at it.
Eventually you'll get it.
And even every year they're still making iterative changes. They didn't have McCaffrey last year, but they were running Debo, and they still kind of got to that same point. So anyways, I just think each team is a little bit different. The Vikings clearly need a lot of things. You can't have a negative point differential with 13 wins and still not need a lot of things, like a defense. And so, it behooves them to get some draft picks and make some moves and shore some things up. And I don't think backup quarterback is what we're missing right now. Now Cousins could get hurt, but the difference between if Cousins went out, and I'll use the example of Trey Lance was there, and Trey Lance came in. We're not going to be the same team because we're not going to be carried by our wonderful defense or our amazing offensive line who will make holes for Dalvin Cook. These things do not exist. So we still need to move forward. So it's not, it really does matter from team to team. Some teams are just doing better than others.
Yeah, for me, Glenn,
What's
I
up?
rather I rather not go to the Super Bowl. I'd rather not go to the Super Bowl than go to the Super Bowl and lose. I've
Mm,
experienced that
kind of
twice
what I
with
was wondering.
Kaepernick
Yeah.
and Garoppolo. I just can't because I don't like that means you didn't close the deal.
Mhm.
You can get there. I don't take any comfort in getting there. You have to close the deal. It's like I've never any basketball trophy I've had. I lost like 3 or 4 championships in my life, adult league, recreation, whatever. I never kept the second place trophy. It's just a reminder we didn't get the job done. We lost. I don't want any second place trophy. So that's just my personal view. But if
Word.
you were using this example, the Cowboys and the 49ers, I mean, with this team, like you guys said, I mean, it's pretty much loaded. We don't have a veteran quarterback, but it's pretty much loaded. We punted on the draft next year. We don't pick until late in the third round next year. We gave up them picks to get McCaffrey. So this is it right here. We have to at least go
I
to the Super
agree.
Bowl, but
You got to
And
win
I
it.
know you appreciate that strategy because I know you
I do.
like draft picks for McCaffrey.
Oh yeah,
If
yeah. I'll
anyone's
take it
going to
all
say,
day.
Yeah.
yeah, if anyone's
Yeah,
going to take that deal all
yeah.
day,
I'll
it's
take
you.
I'll take that definitely.
My thing
So
is, yeah,
if we lose to Philly, which is it's just possible. It's
sure.
possible to lose to Philly,
At this
but
stage, you could lose anybody. Like
yeah,
everybody's good.
that's true. But we could definitely lose to Philly in Philly, and it will be a disappointment to me. I mean, it really would. What I mean, because we loaded up and we didn't get the job done. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Let's
But
go. Yeah.
but like Brian said, it also depends on the stage of your team. Dallas is not going to the Super Bowl, so you already know if they went to the NFC title game, that's a huge accomplishment for them. So I think it also is team specific as well. If you're
Yeah.
Jacksonville, oh man, you're happy. You might attract a free agent
Yeah,
because you didn't win,
I'm a
this
Laker.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Lakers fan like y'all. I'm not just like you said. I don't want to go to the championship to lose.
Right.
And Dallas would do that. And quite honestly, if the Vikings had beat the Giants, they were going to lose to San Francisco. And if by some miracle they found a lucky chance to beat San Francisco, they were going to they would lose to Philly, or they lose the Super Bowl because you can't be where they are as a team and
Sure.
be ready to win all
Yeah.
the way through. That's just not realistic.
Yep.
And so, so again, when they lost, you were sitting right next, you were talking to me. I wasn't heartbroken. It's like, all right, what's
Yeah.
next?
What's next? Yeah. Word. No. Good looking out. Because I was just kind of curious about that, just because I heard the conversations about it and people on Cowboys fans, and it sucks because they keep losing the divisional round. But if you get to the Super Bowl and keep losing, and we'll talk about this. We could talk about this on a future show because I'm starting to want, like the Chiefs have been four times out of 5 years and won one. Still, it's a good ratio, but you're losing them all. The Bengals have been right there 3 years. If they don't win it, they're going to be there. The Niners have been there, three NFC championship games or two NFC championship games in 3 years and not getting it. So I'm starting to wonder, like, it's funny because you're a top performing team, but do people start getting on like, can you get over the hump? And you start getting the Tony Dungy, the Mark Jackson in basketball, the kind of
Yeah.
can you do it? So
Yeah.
Good teams with all the pieces should keep taking that shot and
Yeah.
feel
yeah, if
because
you get
you
enough
will
bites of the
break
apple
through.
initially, yeah,
Yeah.
eventually you'll get it.
Like
Definitely.
the
Well,
Bengals,
hopefully.
the Chiefs, the 49ers, these are not teams that are lucky to get there. These are complete teams that, for whatever reason didn't win last year or and may win this year. Whereas other teams, they got there and the win was getting there. But for the teams like the 49ers, the Bills, the Chiefs, it wasn't about, they all knew that they had that ability. It was just a matter of whether or not they could take it to that next level.
They better do
So
it.
it wasn't as big a deal.
So speaking of this, so Bengals, let's start Bengals and Chiefs. We'll end with the Niners, Eagles. Bengals, Chiefs, predictions. What y'all think?
I'll go real quick. This is hard, man. This is really, really hard. But the point spread started out as a pick, then it went Cincinnati -2. Now it's back to a pick. I'm going to take Kansas City. I'm probably on the minority on this one. Everybody knows that Joe Burrow is
Mahomes.
21-5 against the spread the last
Yeah.
26 games. They didn't beat Casey the last three, but I'm just gonna take Kansas City at home. Cincinnati's favorite on the road in KC, and I understand probably Mahomes is held, but I'm taking Kansas City. What about you, Brian?
Yeah, they're due for one.
I'm going with Cincy.
Yep.
Cincinnati's all season at any point in time, I doubted them. Like at the beginning of the season, I said, "Oh man, they're not looking great." And then they ran off a couple, and then they played teams like Baltimore, Kansas City, or even Buffalo. I thought that they would show that they were not there yet. Well, they've proven me wrong at every single point. So at this point, I'm riding that bandwagon. I think Cincy will find a way. And I see him Cincy -1, but I'll take it at a pick 'em. So yeah,
Yeah.
Cincy.
Word. All right. So Eagles Niners, man. Big baller game, man.
Man, well, this is a big
The
baller
matchup
game.
right here.
Well, what I know is I'm not betting the spread, but I did bet the total. I'll tell you guys in a minute.
What's
But
the line?
it's Philadelphia now is -2.5. It was a pick, went all the way up to Philly -3, and then went back down to Philly -2.5. And the over under is 46. Both of these teams are built the same. They both value offensive and defensive lines. Philly more the offensive line, San Francisco more the defensive line. Both of these GMs, they'll make moves to improve the team, and they value quarterbacks. Remember the Eagles, they had Carson Wentz, still got Nick Foles, and then drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round. Now Wentz was pissed off about it, but we see now that was the right move, having Jalen Hurts there. 49ers had Jimmy. He wasn't getting it done. Gave up 3 first-round picks to get Trey Lance. They gave Nate Sudfeld $2 million to be a backup. They still drafted Brock Purdy. So both these teams know the value of offensive, defensive lines, and quarterbacks. But also, what people I don't think understand, both of these teams have slightly overrated defenses. They could be schemed against, which is why I love and bet the over 46 in this game. For San Francisco, keys. Philly has trouble guarding running backs who run routes and catch passes. We have one of the best in Christian McCaffrey. They also can't guard big tight ends that can catch because their linebackers are really small and light. So I expect Kittle and McCaffrey to have big games, and probably they should line up Debo in the slot to take advantage of their linebackers. Philly should copy exactly what KC and the Raiders did. Spread the 49ers out, because if the pass rush can't get there, the wide receivers will be able to get open against the 49ers secondary. It's good, but it's not all that people make it seem. So if
Yeah, the
Jalen
line
can,
and the linebackers are the strength.
yeah, so if Jalen can make those rhythmic timing throws, it could be a long day for that 49 defense. They will give up. They can give up points. Now, of course, we all know the 49ers have one huge thing working against them. That's no rookie quarterback has ever made the Super Bowl. There have been 4 rookie quarterbacks since 1990 to either start the AFC or NFC Championship game. All of them lost. They went 1-3 against the spread. Mark Sanchez, 2009. Joe Flacco, 2008. Big Ben Roethlisberger, 2004, and Sean King. I don't know if you remember him. He played for Tampa
Bucks.
Bay. Yeah, he was the only one that covered. He had +14, but they lost 11-6. That defense from Tampa Bay played great, but they can only score 6 points. So, but one thing in common, all these quarterbacks had good defenses. But at some point, quarterback has to make plays to win this game, and you just can't rely on running and defense. So I hope Shanahan knows this and don't think that he could just win this game as he did the Dallas game, just running in defense. Quarterback's gonna have to make plays for us to win in Philly. That's a tough place to play. And any 49er fan, lastly, before you go, Brian, any 49er fan that wants to go to this game should stay out of Philly, okay? 52% of the population can't read to a 12th grade level. You don't want to mess with people who can't read. They're violent, okay? So stay at home. Do not go to that game. Go ahead, Brian. Make it happen.
Fantastic observations, young man. That was fantastic.
You just warned off an entire city. You said, y'all need to turn around and go back home.
And I don't know that he lied. Carry on.
Yeah. Anyways, so you actually gave the stat that I find compelling, and that is that no rookie quarterback has ever been able to get to the Super Bowl. Purdy has been very, very solid, and at the same time, he still only has a relatively small number of games under his belt. So, not taking anything away from him, not saying that he isn't going to be good going in the future. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that this situation is huge. It's historically been too much for rookie quarterbacks who have had a whole season under their belt. You also made the point, Kyle Shanahan is always extremely conservative in these situations. And this is not a game in which a conservative game plan will work. Yep. So for those reasons, I'm going to say that Philly is going to be able to find a way to win at home, and take advantage of the fact that they have Kyle Shanahan. They're going to go into this game knowing that they're going to be conservative, and they have a rookie quarterback. They'll hopefully be able to show some type of variety in the defensive sets and make it hard for him to find ways to win the game. Do I agree with you on Christian McCaffrey and Kittle probably having decent or big games? Yeah, probably. Do I agree on over 46? Yeah, probably. I just think that in the end, you got to pick something to decide something on, and no rookie quarterback making the Super Bowl. And it's hard for me to see how Purdy, who has only had a third of the season, will be the first.
Yeah, and Brian, to 2 of your points, I think whoever is able to run the ball is going to have a huge advantage in this game because that's going to open up the passing game, and especially the play action for the 49ers.
You're afraid of
They can
Kenneth Gainwell then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Gordon. Yeah, what's his name? Gordon Popwell. What's his name? Yeah, him. So, and also to your point about rookie quarterbacks in this spot, Sean King had no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Ben had 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Flacco had no touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Mark Sanchez was the only one that played okay. He had 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, but they were plus 7.5 and they lost 30-17. So you're right. They don't play well in this situation.
Yeah. I don't know if I think I sent it to both of you. They had the analysis of the only other time that Purdy and Hurts played.
Yeah.
And Purdy outplayed Hurts in that game. And then there was kind of a weird pass at the end for a touchdown. It ultimately went the wrong way, and Purdy's team lost. But Purdy's stat line was far better, and it looked like he outplayed him. Well, just to say that, like Purdy's not going to go in there afraid of Jalen Hurts. He's already conquered that dragon.
Yeah, he ain't playing.
I think that has to do more with Oklahoma's defense, the same guy that USC got right now. So yeah, I think it has more to do with that defense just wasn't good, but he ate it up though. If you supposed to be a good quarterback, got to eat up bad defenses. He did that, so I'm with you on that. But I think Oklahoma won that game. Yep.
Word up. Okay. Good observations, man. That was actually pretty good segment. I liked y'all made some really good points. Coop, it sounded like you've been really researching and thinking about that.
Yeah. I want to make a bet on this game, and I can't bet on the Niners. I love them, but I just can't bet. I'm gonna just take that over and just stay and pray. So we'll see.
This guy's about his bread. I ain't mad. So let's run down the real quick the awards for the MVP. So you got most valuable player finalists announced. You got Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Justin Jefferson, Patrick Mahomes. Give me just kind of a quick rundown because,
I'll be quick with mine. I've already said Mahomes should win. No Tyreek Hill, but he has 6 rookies starting on that team. And, he led the league in touchdowns and passing yards. So I'm going with Mahomes. What about you, Brian?
I think Jefferson should win, and I think Mahomes will win.
Yeah, they haven't given it to, I think, anyone other than a quarterback in like 20 years or something.
Yeah.
One kicker and a wide receiver.
I think the league put Jefferson on the list of finalists as the win for him.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you were amongst the finalists, but there's no chance in hell he's going to win. But Mahomes is absolutely, with what he did, without Hill, and what he continues to do, I still think it's him.
Okay. Word. You got Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa from Chris Jones from the Chiefs, Michael Parsons from the Cowboys.
Who you got, B?
Bosa.
Yeah, I'm going with Bosa too. I think he should have won it last year. They gave it to TJ Watt. I'm going with Bosa because he is the 49ers defensive line. So
He's a game wrecker, man. He absolutely is a game wrecker.
I honestly
I've seen him win games.
They're going to give it to him this year as a makeup for last year as part of it.
Okay. So Offensive Player of the Year. Now, this is where Justin Jefferson may get busy. You got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Hurts, Justin Jefferson, Patrick Mahomes for Offensive Player of the Year.
I'll start this one. Usually, a lot of times they give the Offensive Player of the Year to the quarterback, but I'm gonna go with Justin Jefferson on this one. I think they're gonna show him show a wide receiver some love, and they're gonna give Justin Jefferson. Because look, the Vikings, we all know they won a lot of 1-score games or whatever and had below, but somebody had the ball for them, and it was Justin Jefferson. So I think they're gonna give it to him.
Yep. B.
He was on pace until the big choke job in Green Bay to break the single season rush record. And that says a lot. Not rushing record, but the receiving record. I think it's going to be Jefferson as well. I think that this is where they give someone their flowers, and I think Jefferson deserves it over Hill.
All right. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Brock Purdy from the Niners, Kenneth Walker from the Seahawks, Garrett Wilson from the Jets. It's actually
I'll start on this one. I think it's pretty amusing that they put Purdy with only a third of the season in. Right. That's a hell of a lot of respect. And he deserves it. But I think this is similar to putting Jefferson in the MVP conversation. The win was being there. I don't think there's a snowball's chance in heck he's actually going to get Rookie of the Year. I think Garrett Wilson's a pretty decent pick. I thought he had a really solid year. I think Bryce Hall would have been in this conversation if he stayed healthy. But I think Kenneth Walker III is going to be that guy, and I think it's just because all season long he was called upon to do it. He kept on delivering. He did it for a team that outplayed their expectations. And he was a big part of that. So I think Kenneth Walker III is probably going to get the Rookie of the Year. I think Dameon Pierce would have been in the conversation if he could have stayed healthy too.
I don't. Yeah, I'm with you on them, Pierce. I don't know when this award will be announced and how the votes are tallied, but this is just my thought. If Brock Purdy wins this game, I think they're going to give it to him. I think if he.
Oh no, the awards are already done.
Oh, it's already done. Okay.
Yeah. All the people have already
The
voted.
fact that he's on there makes me believe he's going to win. But I'm gonna go with the receiver from the Jets. I'm gonna go with them.
Yeah,
Garrett Wilson. Yeah.
All right. So defensive rookie of the year, Sauce Gardner.
Oh, this is gonna be easy.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Sauce Gardner.
It's Sauce
Tariq
Gardner.
Woolen.
Yeah,
Gardner.
it's Sauce Gardner. Yeah, we ain't got to even.
Yeah.
I don't even know who the other two are. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
All right. So
Aiden Hutchinson played exceptionally well. I didn't really know that much about Tariq Woolen, but Sauce Gardner has been a game changer for the Jets, making them one of the scarier defenses in the football. And but it's going to be Sauce Gardner in a walk.
All right, wait. I got one for you guys. It might be hard, but here it is. Assistant Coach of the Year. Ben Johnson, the offense coordinator for the Lions. D'Amico Ryans, defensive coordinator for the 49ers. Or Shane, I can't pronounce his last name, the Eagles offense coordinator. Who you got? Lions offense coordinator, 49ers defense coordinator, Eagles offense coordinator.
Lions offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Niners have had a good defense for years. They lose Salah, they're still good. I think D'Amico's going to get a job, and I'm glad to see it. I remember him playing.
Yep.
Eagles have gotten busy from the OC. I thought they wanted to get rid of Hurts.
Goff
looked
great.
Rid of the coach. But yeah, the Lions way overperformed. They were a game out of the playoffs. Everyone but you, Coop, because you had the Lions winning. So
no, I had the Lions in third.
In third this year. Last year,
because
last year I had them in first.
Yeah, you switched the years, but all right.
Yeah.
What about all right? So
I'm with you guys. I got Ben Johnson, the Lions offense coordinator, for those same reasons. Yeah.
Do y'all want to do coach of the year?
Comeback player of the year?
Yeah, come back and you got coach.
Come back. Yeah, let's go comeback player.
Come back. You got Saquon, you got McCaffrey, you got Geno Smith. Actually, 3 very good ones.
Oh, that's good.
So I don't understand how Geno's a comeback player. Maybe because he was a backup, but
he didn't get to play.
Yeah, he was a backup.
But anyways, this is Saquon Barkley. He had an outstanding season after a whole bunch of injuries. He single-handedly made the Giants relevant for the first 3 quarters of that season. No one's talking about how good Daniel Jones is yet, and if you can name 3 wide receivers on that team, I'll buy you lunch. So yeah, it's Saquon Barkley in my mind.
For me, it's Christian McCaffrey. I think he's just. I knew he was good at Stanford. I always thought he was better than Reggie Bush, and people laughed at me for that or mocked me for it because Christian McCaffrey can run through the tackles, and Reggie Bush was more of an outside player, but. Christian McCaffrey has just made it's an added dimension to the 49ers offense that just never had, I don't think, ever before. So I'm going with
he wasn't there all season though.
He wasn't, but I'm still going to go with him. In this award. We'll see what happens. Who actually wins.
Word. And the last one, coach of the year, man. Brian Daboll from the Giants, Sean McDermott from the Bills. He's probably out. Doug Peterson from the Jags, Kyle Shanahan from the Niners, Nick Sirianni for the Eagles.
Again, all these votes are already in. So whatever group has it. So McDermott,
definitely
might still have a chance. That being said, it's Brian Daboll. That team way overperformed. The 49ers were supposed to be good. The Eagles were supposed to be good. Peterson was not supposed to be good, and he's the only other person on here that I really think has a strong case. That being said, the Giants, I think, played better football more consistently with less pieces than the others options on here. And then he's also kind of the viral coach because he was going into the arena early and sitting down with the people who work there and mow the lawn and all that. Those are great feel-good stories. This is all voted on by the Associated Press and people who like to write stories. And Brian Daboll is the best story of that bunch.
Yeah, Brian Daboll was my coach of the year weeks ago. I think he should win, but my second would be Shanahan, only because he's had to work with 3 quarterbacks in the same season and still got to this point. Third would be Nick Sirianni. What's that?
Yeah, you picked all the 49ers that were up for awards here, man. Purdy against all odds.
No. I picked Garrett Wilson. I
got Peterson and what's his name? Campbell from the Lions. He's not on there, but Peterson took that.
Wait. There wasn't a 49er up for Garrett for the. Oh no, you Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Brock Purdy was up.
Yeah, they got Peterson. That team was coached by Urban Meyer, bro. He left halfway through the season.
Yeah,
the team was bad. Lawrence looked bad. He got that team playing for him. He's already won a Super Bowl and turned the Jags into an extremely respectable team. They came back from big leads. Came in the playoffs. gave a game to the Chiefs. That's why I had the Eagles definitely too. They turned it around, but and
Yep.
Shanahan's been doing this. He should probably get one if he hasn't got one because he be coaching. But
Problem is, if you don't get it early, it becomes
Yeah.
a given. And like I
Yeah,
said,
for
these
sure.
awards are picked by the Associated Press. It's picked by people who like stories.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's, but
Sure.
Peterson, I absolutely could understand why he
Yeah.
might get it for a lot of different reasons. There's a great story that went around where he felt like he was going to have to convince them to do the off-season program. He thought that maybe he would do the off-season program and the voluntary one, and no one would show up because they were so frustrated about what happened with Urban Meyer, and everyone came in, and it was
Yeah,
it was a
ready to
good
work.
story. But I think Dable's the story.
Yeah, Glenn, real quick, I would go with you on Peterson if he didn't coach Jacksonville, because nobody really cares about Jacksonville, and it's the New York
made him
Giants.
relevant.
It's in the New
Yeah,
York
yeah, yeah.
market, so that's the reason why. If he coached somewhere else, I would definitely take Doug Peterson. But I think because he's in New York and people want the Giants to be good so bad.
A side note,
Dable.
and we got to get off this because just for interest of time, interesting for him to be one of the top candidates and maybe win the award when this whole Brian Flores scandal started with that Jets team at the beginning of the year. So it looks very much like you picked the right guy.
And here's
Interesting.
Yeah. Well,
good
but
point.
here's the thing. They have the same record they had last year. They went out, they spent a bunch of money. They went out, they got the players.
Sure.
Talking about the Dolphins.
Miami, the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Optics. They went and spent. They got a huge defensive player. They went and got Tyreek Hill. They got a brand new coach. They spent tons of money on both sides, and they had the exact same record that they had with Flores.
But I think I can say that with Flores, though, they got absolutely trounced, blown out both games by the Buffalo Bills, whereas Miami could have beat them both times they played, or two or three times they played them this year.
If he had
were
Tyreek Hill,
they spent a lot of money.
I'll say
They spent a lot of money. Yeah.
If he had Tyreek, he might have had a chance.
Tyreek Hill is he's pretty good.
Game changer. So real quick, just because of the golf thing, Live and PGA, let's just kind of run it down. Maybe
some interesting things that have happened in this past week is this: they got a TV contract in the United States.
Yeah, with the CW.
With the CW.
Old UPN.
Which is pretty funny in my opinion. A lot of people have been talking a lot about that, but look, it is a TV deal. I still not watching it. I don't watch anything on the CW. Why should Live be different? Add to that, there's what they call it T-Gate, where Patrick Reed went up to McElroy while he was on the range and shook the hand of his guy, and then when McElroy ignored him, he flicked a tee at him that had a little Live sign on it or something like that. Anyways, McElroy, real quickly, McElroy said the reason I have nothing to do with that dude is because he sent a subpoena to his house on Christmas Eve. He said, I answered the door with my family trying to have a good time, and he puts that stress out there, and he wants to come over and talk to me. Reed's like, I don't get it. He's acting like a child. Hell no. For those of you who have ever gotten a subpoena, you get it at the wrong time. Like, it messes your whole day up, and you absolutely are not going to sit there and just let that go under the water while the lawsuit's still active. Reed is still suing an active lawsuit against McElroy for defamation. Like, no, Reed, you're an asshole. Everyone thinks that. Truth is an absolute vindication on a defamation suit. And all McElroy's ever said is that he's an asshole. Anyways.
Yeah, and Lives being PJ Tour is trying to add the fund that's actually all the backing for the Live Golf Tour to this large antitrust lawsuit.
$181 billion are in that fund.
Basically saying they breached contracts and they tried to destroy the PGA or
when they give Tiger offered Tiger or someone $100 million and everyone's like, oh my God, that's so much money. It's not. It's less than 1% of that fund. That's how big that fund is. Yeah. It's less than 1/1000% of that fund. That's just how big it is.
Crazy money.
That's a lot. Yeah. When 100 million is no money at all, that's a lot of money there.
Yeah.
So one other thing that was kind of interesting is that they did the most. The biggest names in golf, and they had all the different people in Tiger Woods, and number one was Phil Mickelson and his affiliation with Live Golf.
He got breaded this year too.
Which is still pretty interesting. And then the last thing that happened with Live Golf all this week is that they're leaving their championship, which was at Trump's course, Doral, which got banned by the PGA, but they're leaving Trump's course and moving it to Saudi Arabia. I think they figure if they're going to have controversy, they might as well have controversy there.
End of it. Yeah, interesting. So live golf. I'm also playing Sunday. I'm not that good, but man, I'll take about 1 million. You know what I'm saying? So let a brother know I'm selling out quick. You know what I mean? I'm cheap. Jokes anyway, but hit me on the side. So Lakers trade, man. We got the first Japanese player in Lakers history. I don't know how to say his first name. I know it means
Rui.
Rui. Yeah, it means base or like I think fortress in Japanese. His grandfather was a big baseball fan. Rui, he joins the team. Apparently he's a shooter and he could ball, man. I don't know much about him, but
well, we were all cheering for him in March Madness because he was part of one of the Gonzaga teams that was expected to go and didn't. But yeah, he can play. I don't know how he is worth a player and 3 draft picks. That is an awful lot.
If the player was Russell Westbrook, you'd understand. But carry on, or Beverly.
Well, 100%. But then the 3 draft picks are a thank you for taking this player you want to get rid of. The Washington Wizards actually have designs on keeping Kendrick Nunn, and one of the reasons they wanted to trade for him is that he's $1 million cheaper than Rui, and they wanted to be able to get his bird rights so they can sign him this offseason because this is on his last year of his deal. So it just like we wanted to be able to sign him. The Lakers came out and immediately said that this is a long-term play. This is not we want to do it for the end of the season. They said they want to keep Rui going forward. That he's going to start as soon as he's situated in the lineup. That he's going to be part of not a big 3 lineup, but a part of that lineup with LeBron and AD. One of the reasons that they obviously wanted him is because he can space the floor. His catch and shoot percentage was at 45%, which was amongst the highest for outside forwards. So there's statistically, I get some of the reasons why they did it. I don't understand why they did 3 draft picks. I think that's an awful lot. I think they were probably bidding against themselves, although a lot of people thought that Rui was going to get traded. And I don't know. This is not the trade that took us from, outside of the playoffs to, 4th or 5th seed and competitive. So, yeah, I'm not sure I understand it unless there's another trade coming. There's a lot of rumors, which maybe we'll talk about another time, about Patrick Beverly, not Westbrook. It almost seems certain that we're keeping Westbrook because we wouldn't have got rid of Kendrick Nunn, who plays point guard, if we were also going to get rid of Westbrook. So I think he's here for the season, but I think Patrick Beverly's the one that if anyone's going to get traded, it'll be him, and I'll be glad to see him go.
This guy. Coop, you got any thoughts?
I have no opinion on Rui. None whatsoever.
Let's keep it moving. Thanks B for the live talk and the thing. Y'all got anything that's hella hogwash from this last week? Anything that you was thinking of?
Yeah, I got one thing. Yeah, the Giants came out and said they're keeping Daniel Jones.
Oh damn.
That's a bunch of hard. He threw for 15 touchdown passes all year. I mean, I think that's what tied with Taylor Heineken or somebody. I mean, Daniel Jones is bad and proved that he's not the guy ever when you played against the Eagles last week. I don't get it. I'm an ACC guy. You guys know that. I watch all the ACC guys. He played for Duke. I didn't even know he came from the ACC. That's how bad this guy is. So he made it to the NFL, great, but I don't think he's that good of a quarterback. And I think the Giants should really think about upgrading, not just quarterback position, but also, other talent on the team as well. So I think that's hogwash to bring him back.
B?
Yeah, look, the only thing that I already said it, actually, I think it's a hella hogwash for Patrick Reed to go up to a guy that he's in an active suit with and get pissed off when he doesn't want to talk to him after having someone bang on his door on Christmas Eve to serve him paperwork. Like, get the hell out of here, man. You could have easily have done that 2 days later, and the results probably would have been the same. A lawsuit is a lawsuit. But to walk up to a man after you do something like that and expect anything less than what he got or anything more than what he got is hella hogwash.
It seems like your attorney wouldn't want you talking to him either, but
yeah.
Right.
Well,
word. Yeah, I got nothing. So last minute to win it. For me, just shout out to the family. Thanks, shout out to my dad just for being my dad, man. I miss him. We love him. What y'all got?
Just me. Just thank you for everybody for just supporting all of you who are listening. And like Glenn always said, if you've been rocking with us since 5 years now, man, we deserve to get you a Peerless One Sports T-shirt or something. I mean, you need to get something for real. B?
Yeah.
Yeah, echo your thoughts on your dad. Was thinking about him a lot yesterday. Something that I just think is really interesting. This is not, epic or anything in anything there, but just something to bring attention to. I don't know if anyone saw this. It's kind of buried. It was on the front page of CNN for like a split second, and really wasn't anywhere else, but it was kind of buried. 600 square miles of ice broke off of Antarctica
Oh,
today.
that's not good.
600 square miles. Now, this isn't necessarily due to global warming. It's just really interesting. Like, things happen. But 600 square miles, to put that in perspective for those people who are in Los Angeles or
Still
have
not
been to
good.
Los Angeles, 600 square miles is 100 square miles larger than the city of Los Angeles. Like,
Dang.
it's a lot. It's a
Yeah,
big, big, big
that's not
chunk
good.
that just broke off of Antarctica. Anyways, so yeah, and that just happened yesterday, and it just completed yesterday.
It's not good.
And then yeah, for all those who
Yeah.
didn't feel the earthquake last night, that was fun too.
Man, yeah,
Damn.
yeah, I'm out the way. Man, I love you guys. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Coop. Man, it's always fun to do. Sports Counterpoints podcast is January 25th, 2023. We will catch y'all on the next show. Peace.